This is an R Media podcast. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare. Love has never been one size fits all, and these are the stories we love to tell at the Australian Women's Weekly. For over 90 years, we've been bringing you stories of hope, of heart and connection that reflect the world we live in. And now it's time for a new chapter with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories podcast. Hey, Twisty. So, you know how I've been telling you about my ridiculous road to finding community and new friends in my new home? I've just had the most amazing chat with this woman called Amanda Ferrari, who moved to a teeny tiny town of 800 people. And she's not only built community, she's changed their community. Anyway, I'm going to take some of these tips for myself and hopefully I'll have a few new friends when I next speak to you. All right, love you. Bye. Are you a Farmer Wants a Wife fan? As a long-time inner-city dweller myself who recently made a mountain change, that appeal of living your life in a smaller town and hopefully with a hunky man of the land by your side makes so much sense to me. And it's why I've dipped in and out of Farmer Wants a Wife over the years myself, because there's something about watching these two worlds collide and find a little common magic that is incredibly wholesome and also a tad inspirational. Over 3 decades ago, Amanda Ferrari put this into practice when she swapped the Sydney hustle and bustle for the tiny town of Trangie, population 800 and with only 2 eligible bachelors in town. Despite being warned not to take either of them off the market, when her eyes met those of Farmer Ross's across the bar at the local pub, that's just what she did. And she not only stayed, but alongside her now husband, she's helped both their farm and their town flourish. So far, so romantic. But what did it really feel like to arrive as the outsider in a tight-knit community? And how did their love survive those inevitable challenges that emerged? Well, that's what I'm excited to talk to them about today.
Tiny said to me, there's 2 blokes you need to stay away from. You know, Roscoe and David. I said, rightio. Anyway, Tiny opens the door to the front of to the pub and I walked through and I looked across the bar, the most beautiful, hot, spunky, gorgeous man I had ever seen. And Tony just looked at me and went, yeah, great chat. Okay.
I'm Tiffany Dunk and this is the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories. Amanda and Ross, thank you so much for joining us here.
Oh, you're welcome.
No worries.
We're excited.
Where are we sitting today? Tell me a little bit about where you are.
Yeah, we're nestled where we actually live. We're nestled right down on the Macquarie River, surrounded by river red gums. They are absolutely majestic, and we are right on the river. That is what we look like. Where we're farming is, it's dry, it's flat. We're in flat country. The country really opens up. It is beautiful. I have come to love it. Obviously, you've loved it all your life.
That's all I've done.
Wonderful. So I think we're going to encourage people to do the farm change or enter the next season of Farmer Wants a Wife, maybe. I don't know.
Go for it.
I've got a young fella looking.
Oh, okay. Town of Trangie, bachelor.
He's beautiful. We love him.
Oh, we'll send the casting agents down there. No problem. Well, look, I'm going to crack in with my traditional question, which I ask everyone who joins us here on the show, and that is, what is each of your love languages?
For me, it is Ross's doing. So he holds everything together. He is the farmer. I'm not a farmer. I'm a farmer's wife. He holds everything together for me and my family. And it's right down to, where we live rurally, we don't have rubbish removal or anything like that. So we have to, separate our rubbish, get rid of our rubbish ourselves. And I have this girlfriend and we always laugh and say, as soon as we learn how to load the rubbish ourselves onto the back of the trailer, We don't need them anymore, but that's not true. But, right down to details like that. So sometimes when I'm with friends and, Ross we're not one to go out for dinner or do things like that. No romantic occasions. But
You're all staying home.
yeah, well, we love home, but it's for me, that is the love language that he demonstrates that really speaks to me and holds the whole show together.
Wow. And what about for you, Ross? What is it that Amanda does or special things that the way she shows her love that is really special to you?
Oh, well, she does everything for us, like the kids, the bills, her job. It's taken off. Just everything. She's a very busy woman.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people say that watching the woman they love become a mum really deepens the love and deepens that relationship. Did you find that when you started a family of your own?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, we had twins straight up, so it was a pretty big deal.
And we weren't married.
The scandal.
Kind of a shock.
It was a surprise, an unplanned pregnancy. I mean, how fortunate are we? And we, full transparency, we were best friends, but we weren't actually really going out properly. So we'd been best friends for years in every sense of the word and with a few benefits, Tiffany. So in a little town of 800 people where Ross had grown up all his life and I was an imposter from Sydney to after a few years to find myself pregnant with twins, you know what, we moved in together then and I had 6 months left of the pregnancy and we just got on with it, didn't we? And I think for me, they were honestly among the happiest months of my life because we were getting to know each other in a partnership role. And then the babes came along, the girls, and they were early. They were premature twins. They were nearly 8 weeks preemie.
Wow.
So just watching all that, we were getting to know each other as well as getting to know the girls. For me, it was a beautiful part of life. I'd stayed close to home. The routines around farm life are quite steadying and beautiful, and it was a special time. So I think he knew me as a pretty wild child. I'm speaking for you now, but I think you'll agree. And then, then to watch me suddenly become a mother of 2 preemie babies and see the wild child just go to ground to focus on these babies, I think that would have been a change for you, was it?
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Man, a few words. I love it. Well, look, let's go backwards a little bit and put some context in it for people who are listening. So, Amanda, you inner city Sydney, you said a little bit of a party girl, ended up in the tiny town of Trangie, population not quite 800. What led you to this? What led to the move?
I was raised in Sydney, very Sydney family. We were competitive swimmers, surf life-saving clubs in our blood, still is. And I'd failed at university the first year. I didn't do enough work. And then, look, parents weren't particularly happy, but I went to a school that had borders and I'd always had a connection with those country girls and had, gone out to country parties over the years. But in that year after I failed uni, I tried a few different jobs, really wasn't sure. I was studying comms to be a journalist and I thought, well, rather than try and get a cadetship then in Sydney, I thought I'll break into rural journalism, but I needed to know something about the country and I'd met country people, so I really loved them. There's such an authenticity to them, that's a well-worn narrative, but it's so true, Tiffany. Anyway, so off I went to Orange Agricultural College, which it doesn't exist as it did anymore, but studied rural business. And then, look, honestly, the rest is history. So, from there I sort of moved out and made my career at Warren, which is a town just up the road from us, and eventually found my way to Trangie and bumped into old mate here. I was told to give him a wide berth.
Yes. Now, that you were one of 2 eligible bachelors in town. Am I retelling this correctly, Ross?
Yes. There was myself and Dave Kinsey.
Yeah, the last men standing, Tiffany.
So tell me, Ross, what was life like for you before Amanda blew in from Sydney with all of this, city energy?
Well, nothing's really changed. We still, go to the pub on a Friday, work during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, more to the point, it didn't need to change, Tiffany. Life is steady out here. There's ups and downs with drought and, all the usual things, but the routine around farming and the routine around farm life and the people are steady. It doesn't change. So for me blowing in, I had to adopt that way of life, and I was ready to. I was looking for that sense of belonging and that steadiness, and Ross, his friends and his community and his family gave me that.
It's so hard to make friends later on in life, and that's something I'm really struggling with myself right now. But coming up, Amanda's got some great tips on how to go about it in a very easy and relatable way. That's coming up in a bit. Confession time, guys. I'm really lazy when it comes to my skincare routine. To be honest, I'm lucky if I remember to wash my face at night and don't even go into applying all those different steps of toners, serums, creams, all the different things. It's why Vixen's all-in-one moisturiser was such a game changer for me when I came across it last year. Just one step, done. But I found a new secret weapon, and it's become just as easy to add into my lazy girl routine. Vixen's Shake to Activate Super Vita Serum is lightweight, it smells divine, and it's really good for hydration, and I've got super dry skin, so that's been really great for me. All you need to do is just shake the bottle, apply a couple of drops to your face, and then whack on that moisturiser, and literally, what could be simpler than that? I'll let you in on another secret. If you go to vixen.com.au to purchase now, just add in the code LOVESTORIES, that's Love Stories, all one word, at checkout, and you'll get an extra 30% off. You're welcome. All right, so take me back to the moment that you first clapped eyes on each other. It's Friday night at the local pub. You've been told there's a bloke you're not allowed to go near.
I worked for one of Ross's best friends, and they're a few years older than me. Anyway, as we were walking across the road, the office was across the road from the pub, and Tony said to me, "There's 2 blokes you need to stay away from." Now, he was being facetious, but
we travelled overseas.
Yeah.
We were best mates.
Best mates. He said, "Ross, go and Davo." I said, "Radio." Anyway, Tony opens the door to the front to the pub, and I walk through, and I looked across the bar, and there was Ross. I wish I had a photo to show you. The most beautiful, hot, spunky, gorgeous man I had ever seen. I promise you, I'm not exaggerating. Your eyes, everything, I just fell straight into them. And Tony just looked at me and went, "Yeah, great chat. Okay." And then I just flirted really hard for years.
What was it about Amanda then? You said you were friends for quite a while before it became something else. What was it about Amanda that you particularly enjoyed, Ross?
Oh, it was just everything. We just had a good time together.
Mm-hmm.
She was there. She come pick me up at hospital once, which Mum dropped me off, and the next minute a man's down there and picking me up.
Ross he's the yin to my yang. So he allowed me to be me, and he never stopped me from being me. He still doesn't. And I guess I allowed him to be comfortable in his reservedness. So these are, look, it is a really long time ago. We met about 35 years ago, but
I can't remember what happened yesterday.
thank God, Tiffany.
Well, they say the opposites attract, and I think you can make a pretty perfect whole when you have those two sides of the coin, or the yin and the yang, as you said. How does that play out within the relationship you have, whether it's as parents, as friends, in a partnership? How does it play out in everyday life?
Yeah, well, there's definitely roles, and I think the older we get, you recognise that even more. So I tend to bowl into situations fast, and I'm really trying to practice as I get older to not be so reactive, but I am when it comes to the kids, and I used to try to fix everything. I don't so much anymore. But when there's one thing that's really special to me is when there is trouble brewing or there's a difficult decision to make, I think Ross allows me to ponder that, allows the reaction, but then he will come in quietly and be such a voice of reason. I find that's incredibly valuable, and he would not even recognise that about himself, I hazard a guess. But we've always parented with me as the lead role, and Ross is there to pick up the pieces.
Is there a specific time that you can remember having to do that, or that worked out really well for you both?
Right now, actually, we're in the middle of wedding planning. Our daughter's getting married, and
congratulations!
Thank you. We're so excited, and you're excited.
So excited. I just hope they all get married at once, the three of them.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of decisions to be made there, and you're making them in conjunction, together with another family who we love dearly. Annabelle's fiancé is just the most beautiful man. And just recently we had a difficult decision we had to make, and I rang Ross, he was out on the farm, and after we'd initially discussed it, and told him how I was feeling, and he just brings me down, like in a good way, takes the edge off, smooths things out a bit, makes me see a bit of reason, even with few words.
Yeah, and Ross, for you, is the energy that Amanda brings, does that lend itself well to things that you might have problems with, or things that you might have to face?
Probably all the time.
Difficult times, drought, depression.
Oh, the droughts. We're in a drought now.
I think probably what the energy brings is managing things. So when there's difficult times and tough times, when your mind tends to shut down, I'm able to manage the finances, deal with the bank manager, the accountant, all of those things, and I can shield him from that, communicate when he needs to know something, but essentially people talk about women taking the emotional burden off their families. Well, I think in farming families it goes to another level. It's not only the emotional burden, it's actually the financial burden, the management of the finances that just hits you so hard in really difficult times, because it's hard for people to imagine that in a situation of drought there's no income, nothing. And then there's all the relationships that rely on that income that you have to manage and deal with, and whether that is a bank and debt, or whether it's your family commitments at the time, the kids could be at boarding school or a wedding coming up, all of those things. I think that's a really complex part of farming and that partnership.
Amanda, you've become quite involved in that farming life as well. Are you part of the working of the farm too, or? Absolutely
not. When we were first on the farm, first married, young couple, young kids, I used to help out when I could, and that could look in different ways. I had a little bit of experience, with tractors and things like that, but Ross never let me near them. But we fought so much whenever I was out there, and so I really recognised that my role that was going to serve Ross better and us as a team, because one doesn't work without the other, was in managing the finances, the business side of the operation. That's a really big part of it. So I took on that role. And as you can see, Ross, he's a quieter guy. So there's can be a struggle to express himself. So dealing with bank managers and accountants and people like that, investment brokers, people like that, we have to do that together, and I can support him and show him the numbers, and so that's really my role. And then I have my own business as well, which I work at that every day, as you do when you own your own business. So
what are the biggest problems that you guys are facing at the moment, or that the farming community are facing?
Well, the fuel, that's a problem. Fertiliser's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Drought. We're in drought.
Well, the drought.
Yeah, there's sort of those compounding problems, the fuel crisis, fertiliser's gone through the roof. So out here at the moment, most people are planning not to put a crop in for the three reasons: dry, fuel and fertiliser.
And we still get the same amount of money for the wheat.
Yeah. And you touched on that a little earlier, that depression and the emotional burden that has on the farmers and the farming community. Tell us about that, or why is it important to shed a little bit of light on that for people who don't understand?
I think
take it day by day.
Yeah. Yeah, one foot in front of the other, and keep things simple.
Buy a pub and go have a drink.
We did buy a pub, but we'll get to that. Again, reflection is great, Tiffany. Ross has been in this game for 62 years. I've been here with him for coming on 35, and we're rolling into another drought and another crisis. We've seen it all before. So you do get a bit, you get better at it. You get better at knowing that it's going to be okay and what's the worst thing that can happen. And for some people in farming, the worst thing that can happen would be in this situation that they choose to sell or are made to sell. And if that's the very worst thing that can happen, you still got your family around you, you can go to all those places, and sometimes it's important to go to those places. But I think when you have been on this roller coaster before, you're learning all the time that you're going to come out the other end and you are going to be okay.
And I feel like community must be a real support in these times as well, and especially when you're in a small community like the tiny town you're in. Tell me, what role is that playing in helping you through tough times?
Oh, we're all friends. You got plenty of mates in this town.
You walk down the street, you know everyone. You can walk into the pub, you know everyone. There's you're not reinventing yourself the whole time. They have known you all your life. They know your kids. They know the very best of you and the very worst of you. Sometimes that can be suffocating. But I think in difficult times, there's a real comfort to that, Tiffany. You can walk down the street, feel safe and secure, and it can provide a bit of distraction. We've got wonderful, incredible friends that are family to us in our region, not just the little town. There's a region, and look, I feel incredibly fortunate to have landed here and be part of this. And Ross has given me that gift, Ross and his family. It's incredible.
I think I mentioned earlier I've done I haven't done a sea change, I've done a mountain change. And I know that when you move to a small community, you're not considered a local until you've been there for decades, really. How did you find that experience, and how did you find your own community, Amanda?
Yeah, look, I got a lot of pushback at first, not from the people that I met that I was friends with, was fine because our energies matched. I met those people, and that's why I landed where I landed. But there was a lot of pushback at first. I joined committees. I love committees, and I love to fundraise, and I love to create and build things. So, I came in. I had a lot to learn because I just busted in and started doing things my way. And when things have been done a certain way for a long time, there was a lot of learning there for me. It's been a gift, the whole thing, because I hate to think what type of human I would be now if I had just stayed where I'd been raised and kept going in that manner. Country life has forced me nicely to take pause and to actually realise the impact you can have on other people, good or bad. So it is, it's been great. But it does take time, can take time. You'll always find your people straight away. I hope you have. And
yeah, look, it's taken a little bit of time, and it was, I still feel like I'm no longer called a tourist, which I like, but I don't think I'm quite a local yet, but I have definitely found my community, and through that I'm working really hard to find friendships. It's hard work, I have to say, making friends as you're a little bit older as well. Do you have any tips for people who are struggling to find community wherever they might be in the country?
The only tips I would have is to find a community organisation within that community that speaks to you. Don't try and change things straight away. Get to know people first, because I think it's in the getting to know that the understanding comes. And I think that the best advice I can give, and particularly to older people moving, is don't hold on to everything you know to be true so hard. Bend a little bit, just, we're none of us are getting out of here alive, and just in making those friendships, you'll soon weed people out. But I guess be forgiving, because sometimes people can be tricky, right? And not everyone's a strong communicator. And sometimes it's just in the listening, the understanding, and the time. Give it time.
Yeah. Ross, I'm going to say I think you're a good listener. Is that true?
I think the other thing you'll find really funny, Ross just got hearing aids a few months ago.
And I don't like them.
He takes them out as soon as he walks in the door. What's that tell you, Tiffany? I don't feel very loved.
I've got select hearing.
Coming up, the realities of schooling in the country, and much more about the ride of life that Amanda and Ross are taking part in. I'll see you soon.
A warm hello to our new listeners. I'm Sophie, editor of the Australian Women's Weekly, and we're so happy you're joining us on this new chapter. For over 90 years, the Australian Women's Weekly has been a trusted home of real love stories, the kind that are messy and funny and quietly miraculous, just like real life, and just what we all need right now. Now, with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories, we're wrapping those stories around you in lots of new ways. Online, in your ears, wherever you are, making it easy as possible for you to enjoy. So, if you've grown up with the Weekly or you're just finding us now, welcome. And we'd love you to come on this new adventure with us, exploring every kind of love and the real things that matter to all of us. And because you're listening, and we value that, we've got something special just for you. A discounted subscription to the Australian Women's Weekly, so you can dive even deeper into the stories you're liking. Just head to womensweekly.com.au to find out more. And thank you so much for being part of our Love Stories family. Now back to the chat.
Tell us a little bit about what your business is, Amanda.
It's called the Boarding School Collective. Now, this our 22nd year. How I explain it to people, essentially we exist to connect rural, regional and remote families to boarding schools. So for many of us, you don't have a choice of where your kids go. You either live too far from a secondary school, or there might only be one option in your town. And as we know, it's great to have choices. So what we do, we travel around the country. We represent schools there's about 86 boarding schools from right through Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania. And we're connected with WA and SA, but we don't actually exhibit there. So they're like trade fairs for boarding schools. You might have 40 boarding schools under one roof, and people travel for hundreds of kilometres to come and make that connection face to face. It's something that's very important. And even though, look, it started 22 years ago with no digital background, that face-to-face connection just hasn't gone. It's still what people want. And I don't think that's unique to country people, but it's really special what we do. We support families through boarding school, and we support them in their research leading up to that transition. We support the transition. I could not love what I do more if I had to try. I love it.
Oh, I think it's so important to love what you do.
Very lucky.
And you've done quite a few things in the community as well, if I'm not mistaken, Amanda. And I don't know, Ross, if you want to explain what they are, or Amanda, if you'd like to take over.
Well, the Macquarie Matrons was Amanda's story.
So there's
The
a few,
school.
the school, yeah.
Everything.
You know, Ross, so the Macquarie Matrons, there was one thing, Tiffany, when I started with Ross, you know, and we're in business, and they said I couldn't work on the farm. I was doing the books and things. What I was noticing was there were a lot of young women back then moving from, whether it was another regional centre or some from the city, marrying their farmer and dropping their careers, because we didn't have digital
having
connection.
babies too.
Yeah, having babies, but it didn't work back then, because you couldn't work remotely or anything. So we started this committee called the Macquarie Matrons, which was just a big ball that we had, raising money for rural charities. We raised, and we're going back like a long way, but over the course of that, well over $1 million from a few different events, and they were fantastic. What the role of that was, I wanted to give these women who dropped their careers at that stage something to sink their teeth into. So we ran it more like a corporate business rather than a committee. The roles were different, the way we pitched to corporates to get money, things like that. So it joined women from 4 different communities within a 200K radius. And then with that experience, they could, because none of us had experience on local little town community committees, right? And that's a whole nother beast. So it gave them experience on a committee to take back to their local preschool, their local primary school, their sporting club. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And then I was on the preschool. We had a tiny preschool when the girls were little, and they got half a day a week was all they could get. Anyway, so we then got Kate Kennedy, my dear, dear friend, and I thought, this sucks. Because you got no time out.
Half a day a week is not enough to have a child in daycare. It is not.
So we went to our federal member and our state member. And again, we're going back, so we got over $1 million funding. We developed, it was only the second of its kind long daycare centre and preschool in rural New South Wales. And they're everywhere now, and funding's not a problem anymore. But we had to build something, and we had to convince those with the money to give it to us, that there was a need for a long daycare centre, that women wanted to work, and they wanted to work outside of the home. And for our little town, that means commuting to larger towns like Dubbo. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that place has grown and grown and grown. I couldn't tell you how many kids, but it's incredible. Kate and I are incredibly proud of that.
And we never got to use it.
Oh, no, the kids had started school by the time it got up.
Oh, well, that's okay. You're paying it forward. I love that. It was too late for you to use, but there must have been a lot of women who thanked you for it afterwards. Is there someone in particular, or a story in particular, where that really changed their life and that support service?
Well, I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone, but I'll give you a story. I'm in small communities, you mix across generations, right? So there's a generation of women that are younger than me. They're in their 30s. They're starting to have babies, and they are incredible business women. When I look at them, if they had not had access to this long daycare centre, so, we've got Emily Quigley, who has a business called Peggy and Twig, which is actually global, that she runs from here, from Trangie, and she's starting her motherhood journey. I think she's got her little boys about 18 months and about 3. Now, without access to that long daycare centre, she wouldn't be able to be in the studio producing the jewellery, sending it out all over the world. She has shown at Paris Fashion Week. I mean,
Wow.
incredible. And so they've all been these young women, and I honestly feel so proud. That's why I feel so proud, because these women coming through are able to do that. And the other thing, Tiffany, in times of severe drought, if you go back a few years ago, we're in severe drought, women are able to access childcare and work outside of the home. And what that means, and I am not exaggerating.
Put food on the table.
Thanks, Ross. Put food on the table. He got a word in. But it is as vital as that. And they can do so knowing their kids are safe in our beautiful long daycare centre run by the most incredible woman, Adine. She is a powerhouse. And I am super proud of that and the legacy that is for our community. And I know you're proud of that, Ross, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that must make you proud as well, Ross.
Yeah, I'll let them know. I'll let them know in town.
I don't have to beat my own drum, even though it sounds like I am.
Not at all. It's funny talking back to sort of when you first came and again, that idea of sort of feeling like a little bit of an outsider and someone who has to work a little bit harder. When did Trangie stop feeling like somewhere you'd move to and start feeling like this is my home?
Well, for me, it was fast. I just had a lot of learning to do. I felt belonging, and I think that's really because I had a few close friends that I loved, and they're still my close friends, but Ross and his family. Like I would go out and get in the truck with him and go to the silos and do all those things, and it was never lost on me. I'd be sitting up there bumping along in the truck and thinking, wow, look at me. Look at me. I felt it. When I say I got pushback, that didn't affect my sense of belonging. It just kept teaching me lessons. And I just had to be more, I had to listen a bit. And I know your listeners will think, oh, my God, I bet she never does. But I talk here in this situation, I'm talking a lot because I know that, Rossi, that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah. That's just normal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after 35 years, you'd hope that would be okay.
It's like that anywhere I go.
He gets a bit more chat on with a couple of beers.
All right. Now, let's talk about those couple of beers, because the pub that you very first met in when you saw the most handsome man you'd ever seen in your entire life was in a bit of strife. So can you talk me through what happened next and how the two of you stepped in?
Do you want to tell the story or do you want me to?
You start and I can...
You can fill the gaps. Rightio. I was sitting on the lounge here and it was harvest. That's how good a farmer's wife I am. I get to sit on the lounge and harvest. And yes, and you guys were on the headers and working. And
Is this when you're telling me you're pregnant?
No, just listen. Just listen. Anyway, he rings and he says, I think we just bought a pub. They were your exact
this
words.
Is a pub.
And I said, what do you mean? Anyway, initially I was a bit excited. I thought, oh, well done. So him and his...
Well, we did look at this pub, Amanda and myself. Mm-hmm. And anyway, what happened, the mate across the road where we used to drink, it got shut down, the pub. And we panicked a bit because there's only going to be one pub left in town and it was for sale. And we thought, if that doesn't sell, we're not going to have a drinking hub. And you need a pub. You need to go to the pub and have a yarn.
Yeah.
And anyway, I had all the figures and whatnot, and I said to my cousin Darren and good mate Mark, well, we can buy it. We can buy the pub over the road. And that was on a Friday night. Saturday morning, we had the pub bought.
Wow. Have you seen any more romances bloom across the bar since you've been owners?
There's been some bloom that haven't blossomed, let's just say that.
Well, I want to see another like star in the stars match like Amanda and Ross. I would love to see that.
So would I, Tiffany. How beautiful would that be? We've got a single daughter. She doesn't live here, but she's coming home this weekend. So I'll push her through that front door and tell her who to stay away from.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work for you, did it? So well, then I guess what advice would you give back if you think back to when you very first met at that bar all those, 35 years ago? What advice would you give to your younger selves, or what would you say to those younger versions of yourselves about what was about to follow?
Strap in, get ready, it's going to be a ride. But, there's something for me, I've got no regrets, and I think I went down the right path, so I'm not sure I'd say anything differently. But what I would want to say to my younger self in relation to Ross is, like I might be the fire, but I had just met my wood, and you cannot have fire without wood, Tiffany. So for all my life, even when we're cranky or at each other, which happens, right? I just know what a steadying hand he's been. So there's a little bit of me that the discovery's been fantastic. But way back then, if I had known that he was always going to be the wood to my fire, would that have taken the excitement? Probably. Because it was a ride. Like I had to chase, didn't I, Rossie? But, there's still a little bit of me that probably wants to impress him, I think. And maybe that is a bit of the spark that keeps me going and wanting to do things and build things, and that spirit's still alive. Because I want him to be proud of me. I really, really do. And because he's not a great communicator, I don't necessarily hear that. So I think in the doing, and when he sits quietly and nods his head and smiles at me, I know he's proud of me. I tell him all the time how I feel and how I feel about him, good, bad, ugly or sad, but how I appreciate and how proud I am of him and what he has achieved as a farmer. It is not easy being a farmer. Don't get the violins out. We bloody love what we do and we love where we live. We really do. We've got the advantage, let me tell you. But it's not easy.
Ross, what would you say to your younger self? What advice would you give to a younger Ross?
Go for it. If it didn't happen to me, I could be a bachelor still,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
We've talked, obviously, your love has shown itself in the partnership and in the marriage you've created, but it also shows itself in the impact that you're having on the town and of those around you. Is that something that's very important to you as a couple?
Yeah. No, we've done a lot for this town. Like Amanda has done a lot more than I have, but I've been on every committee that goes around, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think being together and being such a steady couple, a long and enduring couple, you balance each other out. So when you're working in the town or on committees or, just being part of the community, it's a really lovely thing for people to see. I look up to older couples, and I know the younger generations around us, it's Ross and Amanda. I just don't want to ever get stuck mentally and emotionally.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that's really important because as we age, we do tend to get stuck in the ways that we've always done things. And I think, whilst we can learn a lot from the older community, we can also learn a lot from the younger community who are coming up and blowing things up with their different ways.
Again, not unique to Trangie. This is replicated all over the country. These communities are exceptional, and it is a gift to be part of it. I feel so lucky. Yeah.
As we sign off, what's something that you would really like people who are listening to know about rural life and what's happening in the community right now?
Oh, it's pretty good living out here. It's pretty easy going. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
We know that. He never leaves.
I shouldn't say never, but I'd never leave the town. I'll be here the rest of my life.
It is really good. And even in tough times, like we're heading into tough times now, like the rest of the country, it's the things.
Things can change quickly, though. The weather.
The weather can change quickly. But, things like the fuel crisis and the fertiliser prices, they are more impactful out here. But when you're going through tough times but you're also wrapped around this little community, it's so much easier. I could not encourage people more wherever they're living. If they're living in a big city and they're struggling, financially, and particularly, that's Ross and I always say to each other, we look at young people not being able to afford to buy in the capital cities. If they just came for a drive and had a look at some of our regional centres like Dubbo, like Orange, they can buy beautiful homes. Gosh, I'd love to really encourage any of your listeners who are struggling, whatever age, come for a drive. Come and just have a look around.
Oh, I love that. So go for a drive, everyone. Go and drop in and have a drink in the pub at Trangie.
The Impy.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful old pub. You can't miss it. It's on the corner. If you can afford a tank of fuel, you can make it to the Impy. Come on out.
Well, I'll see you there.
Great.
Fire and wood. I love that analogy. Not every love story has to begin with a big romantic gesture, because some of them start with a warning, like don't touch either of those last two eligible bachelors in town. But then there was this girl from the city who walked into the pub anyway. Amanda and Ross's story is less about grand gestures and more about daily devotion. It's harvest after harvest, truck ride after truck ride, morning tea after morning tea, until one day you look up and realise you've built a life, a family, and a town you're not ready to live without. For anyone listening who's just arrived somewhere new, like I have, who feels a bit like they're the outsider at the bar or the blow-in at the school gate, consider this your quiet bit of hope. Because the place you're now in doesn't have to stay his town or just that place you've got a job forever. With time, with courage and a few bold choices, it can become your town too. You've been listening to the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories. If Amanda and Ross's story resonated with you, please follow, rate, leave a review. It just helps more listeners find these conversations. And if you know someone contemplating a big move for love or for life, send this their way. They might just hear themselves in it. Hope to see you again next week. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare.
This is an R Media podcast.